Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, the scientific healer. And in today's show, I'm going to talk about autoimmune disease, natural ways to handle it. And the reason why I chose this topic is I've just been reading a book about it, and the book is in some ways traditional and in other ways it's a little advanced, and it inspired me to talk about it because so many of my clients and friends and family are having problems with their own autoimmune disease, like getting it under control, the medication, and so on. So I started looking up some statistics this morning to see how many people were actually on some sort of prescription, because usually that prescription, even if it's high blood pressure or medication for depression, it has some roots in problems, and including an autoimmune problem. I was also surprised to see how many people were suffering from some sort of autoimmune or so on. It's like 40 to 50 million Americans have arthritis alone. There's also lupus. There's anything to do with your pancreas, like diabetes. There's anything to do with your thyroid, like Hashimoto's or low thyroid or even hyperthyroid. And people say that the body is attacking itself, and that means your immune system is overactive. But my contention is that your immune system is behaving exactly the way it's supposed to. And if you suppress that immune system, a lot of other things could be that are worse than having joint pain, for example, could happen to you. So with these millions of Americans, what we've found is actually that 60 to 70% of the people over the age of 50 are taking some sort of prescription, many of them multiple prescriptions, and above the age of 65, it ramps up to 75%, and it's something like 15 to 20 prescriptions a year. And I think that a lot of the amounts of how much people are paying for these prescriptions are underreported, because when I first met my husband Noel, after not seeing him for 43 years, he was on 11 prescription or 9 prescriptions, I forget how many, but it was costing him out of pocket $900 a month. And they're saying that that's about the yearly cost, maybe with Medicare and so on, but the yearly cost, that people are taking so many, and these were the typical autoimmune kinds of things. He was taking stuff for blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, pain, and a lot of people are suffering. I think there are a lot more people that are suffering from some sort of body pain and just simply aren't taking prescriptions. And the other thing that happened, the other thing that was surprising, is that people that are prescribed statins, half of them don't take it because they suffer from muscular pain. They feel miserable on it, so they just stop taking it, which is actually a good thing. So now, what is the solution? So when I work with people and I do energy healing on them, their pain is almost instantly relieved. So energy is only part of the equation. So let's everybody sit up straight and put your shoulders back and take some nice deep breaths and get your body kind of in the flow of, doing some of the proper things that will help your energy flow. And just by doing that, like I always notice that if I'm sitting slumping in front of a computer and I remember to pull my shoulders back, I instantly feel better. It's like my mood gets pushed up. So there's lots of little things that you can do to help your mood, including drinking water, getting up and moving around. I always say, and I heard this back when I was still in my teens, that you can't be depressed and be in motion at the same time. So energy healing is only part of the equation, but what happens is that if you have a constant onslaught of things that your body will get inflamed by, then you can be energy healing all day long, but it will never solve the problem, because Our bodies are open systems. They take in things from the environment and they expel things to the environment. That's the natural flow of things. That's the way our energy fields work. We take in information and we give out information through this field that's surrounding us. And we know this based on actual scientific studies that show how people's fields are affected by other people, by things around them, by their excitement, their mood. When their mood is up, their fields grow and get nice and solid. And that's what basically we want to do. So energy healing, even little things like meditation, deep breathing, sitting up straight, those little things, they all promote higher frequencies for you, and you will feel better just by doing them. So the other is actually diet and also avoiding things that are toxic, like whatever you put on your skin, even putting a filter in your shower to filter out the chlorine so you don't take it in, and it starts reacting with the fluid in your lungs, and it creates a problem because the chlorine will replace the iodine for thyroid, for your thyroid. Just being really cognizant of what's around you, like the materials in your home, the cleaning products that you use, are they toxic to you? The soap that you put on your body, the shampoo you put in your hair, anything you put on your skin, any skin cream, all those things will start to create inflammation in the body, especially if they have things like, they know that parabens and colorings and perfumes with odors, any of these aromas that are chemical will create problems for you. But most importantly is the food that you put in your body. And I know that a lot of people, and there is one doctor that is all over the internet. I remember his first name, Tom O'Brien, I think is his name. And he talks about how grains can cause autoimmune disease. And there's now more and more people that are coming out with how certain foods, grains, pseudograins like quinoa and amaranth, all grains, that includes anything that grows as a grass, wheat, rye, barley, corn, oats, those are the common ones, but anything that is classified as a grass is a grain, even sugar cane. But the sugar cane is, it's not the seed that we're eating, it's the stem. That's not nearly the problem. So anything that's classified as a grain has the potential to create an autoimmune situation. And here's why. When you eat something that starts to perforate your intestine, and one of those things that does this very well is a substance called a lectin. And a recent book called Plant Paradox talks about lectins. It's a little extreme, but if you're in a great deal of pain, that might be a book that you would be interested in looking at and seeing what it says. And I have also read, and I will include in this down below later, I'll go in and I'll put in some of the links to these books and so on. But what these books are basically saying is that when your intestines are perforated, what'll happen is that incompletely digested particles will end up in your bloodstream. And then what happens is that your body interprets those invaders, and it creates an antitoxin for it, and it attacks the invaders and it takes care of them. But what happens is, if there's a string of amino acids on those things that come through, basically it's protein maybe that's not quite digested, like a gluten. Gluten is not quite digested and has a string of amino acids on it. And if you have that same string of amino acids somewhere else in your body, then those attackers that attack the thing that came through your digestive system start attacking it. It could be your thyroid, it could be your liver, it could be your pancreas, it could be your adrenal glands, whatever, like Addison's disease is another autoimmune problem. And then what happens is your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to, but what's happened is because there's this problem that started happening in your intestinal area, it starts going to the rest of your body, and it starts bothering it, and it sets up this cycle, and every time you eat, it gets worse. And I used to have this problem. I was in pain from head to toe. I developed a thyroid condition from it. I had also very, very weak adrenal glands and a weak liver. And as soon as I started changing my diet, all of that got way better. And it was so bad that all of my finger joints were red, swollen, and I was developing little bone spurs in every joint. And I couldn't even pick up a pencil without being in a lot of pain. And my one of my ankles had swollen to about twice the size. And I thought, well, what am I going to do? And I was, this was about 10 years ago, where I was having all this problem, and I was not going to go on a medication because it had come on right after passing through menopause. Like everything sort of shifted after that, the biochemistry. So I noticed, and I've always been watching my weight, and I would like cut out carbohydrates, which is a lot of grain, right? And I would only eat them in the morning. So in the morning, I'd feel really good, and then I'd have some rolled oats, right? Healthy grain, some rolled oats for breakfast, like a very small amount. And within a half an hour after eating it, I'd start to feel a lot of pain. So I thought, oh, well, why don't I just cut grains out? And when I did that, within 1 month, I was 10 pounds lighter, and I was eating more, 10 pounds lighter, and all of my joints started to itch and finally subside. And I've been off of them ever since. I still do eat them occasionally. I'll eat some rice occasionally, or I eat something, some oats occasionally, but actually pretty rarely. And they don't bother me anymore, but I cannot have it as a daily onslaught into my body. So there is one clue that what happens is that when the body starts seeing something that's in it that it doesn't belong there, it will take care of it, and by the same token, take care of you. And so some of the diets, there's a lot of them that are around, and I'm even confused, and I have a really sharp mind when it comes to this. I've been studying diets and what to eat since I was in my teens, so let's say 50 years, and there's still like this whole array of complex things to go after. And I have to say that we were all born to be healthy and happy, and that the things that we put on ourselves or in ourselves can create the problem, because this is way more complex. Like, we didn't have processed foods, even 200 years ago. We didn't really have processed foods. Everything was made from scratch. So a lot of the processed stuff is so broken down. Like if you eat a whole grain, like everything on it, if you eat the whole grain as, something like if you take wheat and you make wheat berries out of it, it doesn't nearly affect the body as if you have it ground up into the form of flour and make bread out of it. And then when you take off all the fatty parts like the germ, it makes it go into your body a lot faster, and it creates a lot more problem. So eating as naturally as possible is one solution, rather than cutting out whole food groups. Like the plant paradox has you cutting out whole food groups, a lot of them that are very healthy, cutting out, most nuts and seeds and fruit of all things, including zucchini and tomatoes, which are technically classified as fruit since they have the seeds on the inside. Like cutting all of these things out to try and help heal the body. And then there's others that go completely vegan. And, for me, it was, I resisted vegan because I knew when I had a little bit of protein that my whole body would settle down and not be hungry anymore. But since I've tried it and it does me good, but only for a certain period of time, I do need to have some sort of other protein source besides plant food. So you have to really experiment within yourself. But the first thing that you can do is reboot your body by doing a 3-day plant only, and be very judicious about what you choose, a 3-day plant only like reboot, and see how your body feels by cutting out all grains. Dairy products. Dairy products has a high allergen ratio or rate amongst humans. Cutting out, just basically eating fruits and vegetables for 3 days. And you can do that really comfortably. And after that reboot, you start to try new things, bring things into your body to find out how well that affects you. So the first thing, of course, so I'm going to reiterate everything. The first thing is to check your environment, check what you put on your skin and on your hair, and whatever, and even certain clothing will also create problems. Like what I'm wearing today, I have organic leggings, and this jacket's organic, but that's just my choice. And then start checking to see what you're putting in your body, and reduce the amount of processed foods, reduce the amount of food that's not organic, that has, make sure that things are not treated with pesticides, and also watch to make sure that if you're going to eat beef or you're going to eat chicken, make sure that it's free range. Chicken doesn't need to be fed grains, because whatever the animal eats, you're eating. So if beef is eating corn and then you eat the beef, you're eating the corn. And I find that I don't do well with corn-fed beef, so I eat grass-fed beef, right? So this is just a clue to where you could go to find solutions to autoimmune problems, aside from going to, the pharmacies, going to big pharma to getting those solutions, because we really don't need to be. We're not, your body's not healthy, not because of your genes. It's not because you have a shortage of medication in your body. It's because your body is doing exactly what it's supposed to do to get well. And that was one of its coping strategies. And a lot of the perforations that happen in your gut are because of processed foods, the way it's been processed, the way it's been broken down. Like, we get a lot of broken down molecules in the food, and we never had that before. So that's why those things are happening to us. My goal is to help you get well and feel vibrant and healthy, and not have a lot of body pain. Like, I don't have any more body pain. I don't have any more issues at all, and my thyroid is still in the healing process. If you have any comments, you can put the comments in. I will come back and answer them. But these are some of the things that I've learned over the years to help me get out of I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol, joint pain. I was very depressed, and it was all created from my environment and what I was eating. And now, if I had gone the traditional route, I would be taking, a whole pharmacy load of medications, and I decided that I wasn't going to do that, and I wanted to be healthy. So now my blood pressure is normal, my cholesterol is low, and I have absolutely zero pain at all. So there you have it. And there are the links right there, contact and appointment. So if you have questions, you can send a question to the contact link. And if you would like to speak with me directly, there's the appointment link. And I look forward to connecting with you. If you like this video, hit the like button below, share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.